Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So this is a massive storyline that's coming through, and this is sweeping lifetimes in this particular reading. And the point of it, it's going to resonate for those of you who have, you have an easier time remembering past things or remembering where you came from. So there, we're going to get into how you're going to recognize if this is you, different qualities. And I do advise that with this particular reading that you practice discernment and that you don't take this reading if it's not confirming something to you, right? I do feel that there's a part of this reading that is meant to tell someone something that they don't necessarily know, but if the building blocks of this reading are like, oh really, that's me, then it's not your reading, right? Please do not take this reading if it's not confirming things that you already know. Okay, because for some people it's really out there. All right, we specialize in out there, so all right, so for the collective that this message comes for, first and foremost, one of your abilities is as an empath, right? And I don't mean empathy, I don't mean having empathy, I mean you are an empath. What that means is that you take on other people's energies. So for example, you may notice in your personal relationships, someone gets heated and you get heated, even though you didn't necessarily feel heated just a second ago. You're getting heated just because this other person's getting heated. And then maybe you've learned how to work with that and say, this isn't my energy, so I'm going to, have my own agency here. Maybe you recognize that if you walk past a person in a grocery store who's sad, all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're sad and you don't know why. And you ask the person you walk past, hey, are you okay? And it's like, no, I'm not. Maybe you have friends that, you pick up on their energy. And when you ask yourself, why do I feel this way? You see their face and you contact them and you're like, hey, are you feeling this way today? And you find out that they are. Whoever this message is for, there's a high degree of spiritual empathy. And you are going to resonate with either the violet flame or the blue flame. And or you might resonate with both, I'm not about the boxes and the categories here. So if you're somebody that resonates with those terms, then you may resonate with one or the other. You might resonate with both, right? You're going to have a fascination with the stars. You're going to understand that there's more out there, and you are also going to understand that you originate out there. Now, I have to preface this by saying this is specifically not coming through for people who resonate with the starseed material. This is stuff that's coming from someplace else, right? Beyond that, right? Remember, the starseed material, it identifies stellar bodies from the viewpoint of Earth. And so these are things that are based in our locality within the Milky Way arm or other galaxies that are outside of us. What's taking place in here is this is something else. This is someplace else, okay? I am very much aware right now that I have a collective of beings. Really, it's showing up for me as two, but I feel that for each individual, it may show up as one. And I don't think that it's a they for each individual. I actually feel that there's one for each individual. For some of you, there may be two. But whoever this message is for, you're aware that you are followed in some sense, and you may have put different labels on it as you progressed and as you evolved. But the message is coming through from this is that it's actually quite neutral. It doesn't care if you succeed. It doesn't care if you fail. It's here to observe. It's here to observe and record. Right? I want to say this too. When I was pulling these cards, Thoth was on the bottom, and a lot of people consider him the record keeper or the scribe. For me, when Thoth shows up, it just means a heavy movement of magic, right? There's magic afoot here. So one of the things that's taking place here is this idea of the matrix, right? Being stuck in the illusion, being stuck in the dream. It's almost as though from whence we came, we were placed here under an illusion. This illusion is the net. It's something that is preventing us from waking up, right? It's almost like this, some of you are going to know what I'm talking about this. If you don't, definitely check it out. It's amazing. There is an author named Susanna Clark, and she wrote a book called Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. Now, I haven't read all of the book. However, there was a mini-series that got put out about this, so look it up sometime. In this mini-series, there is a woman who is basically taken by a fairy, and she's put to this sleep, and she can't be aroused, she can't be woken up, right? And she's constantly in this fairy dance, and this is what this is feeling like. It's that idea of, we go through these different layers and levels of waking up that's supposed to reach us to a certain level of enlightenment. Enlightenment is a state where we're no longer in the dream, right? And so the identity, the self, the existence no longer is. It's this other state that can't quite be explained. And this is the point, right? For somebody here, the dream has kept you stuck. And one of the reasons why is because there's a particular cycle, just like that dance, that just keeps going round and round and round and round. And it's more than just samsara, which, if you're unfamiliar with that term, it's more than just the cycle of life and death. It's a cycle within our lives and our experience. We may have multiple cycles, right? Money cycles, love cycles, friendship cycles that we're trying to work through. But if this is resonating for you, you're being asked to locate the main cycle, because that main cycle is something that is constricting your emotions. I'm seeing this as Saturn. I'm not reading these, although you may be experiencing lots of synchronicities right now. There's a lot jumping out at me about this card right now. But Saturn is the ruler of karma. Saturn is also the devil card, right? What Capricorn is. It's that idea of something that binds us, something that holds us, it keeps us put, right? And we have a hard time breaking away from it. Heavy themes from yesterday's reading. Again, I'll have that linked at the very end. Whatever this cycle is, it feels like for a portion of our life we would get stuck inside the cycle, and then eventually that switch kind of flipped, right? And we woke up just a little bit more. Now we have that cycle, we get out of the cycle, we expand, and then we find that we get back in the cycle somehow, and then we expand, and then we get back in the cycle somehow, and we expand. And the cycle might morph and change a little bit, but someone here is realizing that the cycle's actually the same, right? This brings us to the end of yesterday's reading. Remember yesterday's reading, if I remember correctly, it was yesterday's reading. It was about a dragon portal, right? And that was the shadow. It's basically the cycle, the shadow cycle that is playing out. And it's not about getting out of that cycle. It's about going through it. And it takes you to this other place. So we have the same sort of repetitious themes taking place between yesterday's reading and this reading. There's something very important about... it just stepped out, so I have to say it. The constellation of Draco, the constellation of Serpens. Okay, it's like this infinity knot that just keeps playing over and over and over, and because it controls our emotions, right? The lunar aspect of our reality, our emotions. This is one reason why it traps us so much, because we're emotional beings as people. Right? Some of you may be experiencing lunar themes coming out right now. So for example, you may be having experiences with lunar gods and goddesses. I personally consider Lilith to be a lunar deity. You might be experiencing Diana. You might be experiencing Selene. You might be experiencing Hecate in a particular type of form. You might be experiencing higher degrees of intuition at this time, a higher degree of emotional empathy. And this being, you will be aware, if this being does hang around you, if that's for you in this reading, you're going to be aware that it watches from the astral spaces. Why? Because your emotions are the field that all of this is playing out in. And so the being is observing from the emotional layer of reality. There's something here that's keeping us very, 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 very trapped. And we keep trying to get out of it, and we keep trying to get out of it. And the point isn't to get out of it. The point is to transmute it, to wake up in it, to understand the control and the power that you actually can exert based on your belief and the direction of your feelings. This is about somebody waking up into their godhood. Wherever it is that we originated from, we were as gods. That's what's coming through very clearly. We were as gods. And then what's also coming through very clearly is know thyself. So someone here, you may have had heavy themes of trying to really do the self-work, really working through cycles that originated in childhood. And another layer of this that's being shown to me, and I'm going to say that here, right? If you look at that, it's these two birds. This is the way that it's coming out to me. And notice that the window looks like a portal to someplace else. And then this is the reality that we're currently existing in. This is someplace else. And it's the moon there, right? Very emotional, very water-based. So you may even have past memories of some place out there that's like filled with water, right? And this is why emotions are the way that it's ruling us. There's in the astral also. So there's a reason why, if you remember, the time between lives, and picking your parents, right? A lot of us remember that. We remember having sets of parents to pick from. If you believe that that's the case for you, or you remember it, the reason why you were given those options is because all of those sets of parents, their behaviors, their patterns, their attachment styles, their love languages, they were going to program you, right? This is how, from this other place, things are conspired to program you to have a particular web that you're stuck under, to have a particular cycle. It sounds very insidious. It doesn't feel insidious. But there's a feeling in it that as the experiencer, it feels very insidious. Beware of the war energy, right? That's another part of this message. Beware of the war energy. I'm a victim. You're doing this to me. I'm helpless, right? I just want to be someplace else. And, how dare these things? Beware of that energy. That's part of the cycle. That feels like a little bit of a hint for someone here. That indignation and how dare you, and, all of that. It's all wrapped up in that cycle. So there's something here that we're ready to transmute, an energy that we're ready to transmute. What they're giving me now is that the focus of that transmutation, you cannot focus on the external circumstance as the transmutation point. Whatever the circumstance is, whatever that dragon is using as a circumstance to keep cycling, right? That can't matter. The point is to go through the experience and to focus on yourself and to transmute yourself and your reactions and your feelings and they're very primitive, primal energies that come out of us, right? That are in reaction to what's being experienced, to allow ourselves to transmute those, to use those as mirrors to transmute them. That's the point here. Now, obviously, if you're stuck in an abusive cycle, this is not your message, right? If you are stuck in something that is endangering you, this is not your message. So practice discernment with this reading. This is confirmation for somebody because one of the cards that had come out is this card here. And this is a reading that is confirming a path that somebody already knows they're on. The confirmation is yes, be seen, pushed through. Okay. Get grounded. Again, empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. So we have that confirmation coming through, and it's just kind of saying this, hey, like, pay attention to the root chakra, right? Pay attention to it. There may even be a deep dive into that energy that needs to take place at this time. It's almost as though there's an energy in there that shouldn't be there, right? It's almost like it belongs to a different center, and it's trying to flush and process. It's just having a hard time, okay? Roots, yeah, roots. Okay, and then leap. You go first, the universe will catch you. Notice the moon that's back here. Notice those like jagged cliffs and mountains that are underneath that moon. It's this, okay, wow. I'm going to show this image again. For some of you, you have memories of a place from elsewhere. And I'm being told that that image of those cliffs is going to be important for you. Okay. I'm also being told to point out that there's this ocean, this like prismatic ocean in the background as well. Okay. There we go. Can't even make it up. Water world, again, coming out. And I'm going to read this card just because it might resonate for somebody. It's longing for home, belonging, the original light workers, Mintaken. Okay, let's see. Okay, Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in Subtle Realms. Again, I feel that this is speaking about these beings that this information is coming from. For me right now, for this particular collective, again, they feel like they're helping, but they're meant to be neutral. They're very neutral. We have not experienced them in our Earth experience with our war energy and our fears and our anxieties and our worries and our labels and our projections. We haven't experienced them as neutral. We've probably most likely experienced them as very negative. So I'm feeling very strongly that I need to say that. Okay. And then the initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold. I'm getting all the chills as I'm saying that, because this is what I'm feeling, right? What is the threshold? Threshold is this earth experience, passing through to the other side. It's the understanding of using this particular cycle as the portal through which you pass through to the other side. Here we have the crumbling, what are you clinging to? And this feels like the point, right? We may identify it as a cycle, and it's not a cycle that we keep going through. It's an energy within us that we haven't necessarily found yet. Or maybe we have found it, and that's why this reading is confirming this for somebody. Okay. There's different layers of this that we've gone through. So if you look at it, it looks like a tower, right? And it's only when you reach the tower with that lightning bolt shooting up that it splits in half and it opens up into this other side, right? This theme keeps coming up. And so we may have discovered one layer. You know, it might look like, for example, I need to stand up for myself. I need to listen to myself. And then another layer where it might be, you know, I need to remove myself from things. And then another layer where we develop all these things. And eventually we reach the top layer and we understand it's all mind. It's all mind. There's something in the mind and the feeling space inside that is the whole point. It's like finding that lock and the key finally. Okay. There may be an underlying sense of persecution energy. I'm going to say that. That's not, okay, I'm hearing it might be. So for some of you, it's going to be part of that cycle, but this persecution energy is carried from this other place. Is it really persecution? Who knows? Who knows? I'm not feeling yes or no to that, but it's an idea of it that is seated inside of this experience for many people, and it's creating the fabric of the reality. And so this may be part of what has to change inside, right? Okay, very interesting. Perception shifts, very heavy in this reading. Okay, so whoever this message is for, I'm feeling that energy back off, so I'm going to leave it here. If this resonates for you, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment, and until next time.